Very much for our
Alright guys, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, perlawanan ketiga SRG OG menentang Onic dengan Filipina. Sama-sama kita saksikan perlawanan ketiga di Land of Dawn.
Thank you so much. A bit of opinions here and there in terms of which they prefer and not, but
Absolute cinema.
Only these two teams can get to decide which works best. They've equalized the series, and we're heading into a best of 3 to finally find out who's coming out of this. Welcome to game number 3 between Onic PH and SRG OG Esports. That was a very fun draft to watch.
It was really fun, just, you know, predicting the drafts as well, because it really just came down to what you know of these players, right? Like, what are their comfort picks? Onic Philippines responded to the heavy assassin ban by panning out their own assassins, setting up for the Joy. It was
Okay,
amazing
kita
to watch.
saksikan guys.
Now we get to see a battle for match point. Whoever wins here, ladies and gentlemen, will be able to secure match point. A bit of safety in the single elimination bracket.
Yep. And they also bring back the Bruno, who again, in terms of like history and what we know of SRG, was also during that time. And the Bruno was just popping off, especially back in M6, but you could say the same for Onic PH, and they were even the first ones to bring out one of the most unorthodox ways to answer back against the Bruno, which was, if you guys would recall, the Layla, even back in M6, but now they're playing up against it again in this kind of situation where SRG OG are forced to bring out the utility junglers again, but this time around with the Farce in the mid lane, we could potentially be expecting them to play this a bit more better. There could be a lot more space created.
Tumbler kita sama sebiji. Alhamdulillah ada geng.
For the early stages of the game. But looking at the emblems,
King Kong menunggu ni.
Seems pretty standard for majority of the heroes here, but wait.
That's good info. King Kong gonna be able to go for the dive here. Stormy still saving the flicker, and Kong doesn't get the electrifying beat. Sky's walking up now over to Prince. We'll get the poke down, and yeah, nothing too crazy in the emblems. It does seem like for Onic Philippines, they got what they wanted for, right? What they went for, sorry. Hayabusa ban, they really wanted the Joy. But even though we've been saying no utility, the Fredrin is a great counter to the Joy.
Yeah. Just a well-timed energy eruption. It's gonna make a huge difference for the team fight. Oh, but there's the unbreakable.
Lompatan, ulti pada Yves. Tetap dia dapat kali Sky. Nice. Nice. Cram down. Pada S-Strike. Purify digunakan, Flicker juga telah digunakan oleh Stormy.
Actually land that additional movement speed for the Purify, helping Prince to get out.
Oh my goodness, that timings. Brusco, I'm surprised he survived for that long in that entire fight where he was just up front in the faces of the members of SRG OG.
Aku risau nanti kan, Innocent masuk team fight ni kan, dia susah nak keluar guys. Sebab ada super free ni, harap dia dapat jaga jarak dia.
And even that bravest fighter from
Bruno
Kirk and Super Friends in that positioning with the real world manipulation, just making sure everyone was right at the edge. So it's probably also why it took a bit more time from SRG OG to reach Super Friends, to make things a bit more difficult for him. And mind you, that Purify might come in a lot more sooner because he is once again on the together. So that's how Super Friends potentially is planning to keep himself safe. Again and again, he can just rely on the Purify either to get out, to keep the stuns out from Stormy, from Yums, and that's one of the biggest answers again to the entire idea that SRG OG has in terms of their lineup.
Yeah, it's again, they have a ton of damage despite the utility jungle. We've gone through this already.
Target ni dulu. Kalau dapat ke belakang je, tak dapat ke belakang. Siapa nak pergi belakang game ni? Keram ke? Dapat dia pergi. Super free ni confirm kena backup guys.
Up against RRQ by SRG yesterday when the Kalea went for any Tsunami Slam, really, on anyone. Right now, Onic Philippines really need to get space for King Kong. That's what they need to do in the neutral objective battles, right? Because we saw earlier when King Kong had to just brute force his way into the fight, he gets chain CC'd way too easily by the Fredrin, CC, Kalea, even the Farsa.
And that's probably the idea too why Onic PH decided to go for this draft, because in terms of team fights, that's a lot of space you can create with the AOG, with the real world manipulation, and of course just the bravest fighter being casted every now and then by Kirk. Oh, but Super Friends,
Purify dah gunakan oleh Super Friends.
Yeah, great damage now onto Brusco too. Bomb and Revitalize already. And it's not
actually
Super Friends to get back to full.
Oh, turtle ni free ni.
Yeah, they have to concede this one. That's free.
Turtle mudah. Nice guys.
OG Esports, and Hey, with that
Yang penting dia
setup,
si plan
there
je.
was absolutely no way Onic Philippines could brute force the turtle.
Menangkan gol ni.
So that could be the best way to go for SRG OG. That was a perfect call prior and objective to heavily poke a member who is a crucial part in how the team fights are going to unfold. And they went for super
tekan lagi gol ni.
Fritz. So they had to rely on a potential
dapatkan
team fight
plating
without
tu
the
habis-habis,
regulation if it went down to it.
That's
And
right.
so now,
Rating dah habis,
Onic
5 minit.
PH,
That's
clearly
right.
the back foot there, Luwan's reacting to how SRG OG is being more decisive in terms of the rotation than Kelra.
Menangkan terus.
Can't even do much.
Nice.
They will have to let go of that turret.
Beautifully
Kau tak
done
lihat
by
FMI
SRG.
ke apa? Hantuk ke apa?
Kong gets away. Luckily for King,
Tak.
there was no one there to really stop him from dashing with the curtain call. But yeah, Selangor Red Giants, especially with the Bruno, you really want to play the strong side over for Bruno. So the fact that they got 2 turtles, plus they were able to rotate down below, ending the laning phase ASAP, means that Kelro really can't abuse the Granger laning phase anymore.
Nampak okey early game ni.
Puts Bruno,
Okay.
Innocent, in a very good spot.
We've been talking about space, but Onic PH, hopefully that space doesn't get limited to the team fights, because when they get shut down, then things are not looking too good for them anymore. SRG OG clearly with the utility jungler are
Buskor.
making it work.
Dapat
Unlike
position.
the first 2 games we've seen so far in this series, this is how you literally capitalize on the idea of a utility jungler, because you have a strong lane in the gold
Game ni King
lane,
Kong
and
nak
you have a
masuk
mid
dengan
laner
dapatkan
who
3
could
stack guys.
definitely
Baru dapat masuk
help
perang.
you in terms of
Kalau tak dapat 3 stack
creating
susah
that
nak masuk.
space and better yet, even
Sebab
supplying the damage,
Yum boleh
which is
pick
why
off,
Onic PH feel
Skies
a bit
pun boleh
more
stopkan
hesitant.
pergerakan
And so
King
going
Kong
into
yang
the
dapatkan
Stormy
full
and Yum,
stack.
their combo's just too good. And now they're gonna go after King Kong.
King Kong dah
Ooh,
ulti,
and
Fed
Rosen.
strike.
The timing on the F5 beats.
Fed strike flicker, King Kong last. Okay, nice. King Kong down.
Gets him down. A big bonk over to the minion wave. Actually, that was just 1 minion. Rest in peace, minion.
That was, I think, 2? Or maybe, yeah,
Conceal?
that they could leave the lane alone already, but now Purify already used by
Oh,
Super,
Prince?
but still gets
Tak
caught
ada.
though.
Yeah.
Bring down. Oh, dia tak ada Fury ya tadi.
Purify from Prince gives Yums easy access to get Tsunami.
Hai, peluang cerah, peluang cerah.
That was uncharacteristic.
Eh,
for
game
sure.
Bruno
Selangor
ngamuk
Red
ni bah.
Giants.
Ni early game pun dah jadi ni okey lah.
Capitalizing on every small
Di babysit
mistake
habis-habisan.
that Onic Philippines make on the map, and now it's a free turret in the mid lane.
This doesn't feel too common.
Ke masuk tangkap kick ni.
Alone?
Yeah, chain CC it again. The curtain call. Oh my lord, so much damage. Even
Nice.
with the finalize, they go through it all.
Nice.
And Innocent
Apa hal Onic dia
is
tiba blunder ni
on
guys.
his way.
Suka-suka dia masuk.
2 kills.
Di
for
Puri
free
yang
for
tunggu.
SRG.
You get it,
Timing
right?
ke?
There's Brusco who is also coming in, so that's
That's
probably
right.
why he was a bit encouraged. Oh, but wait! Close call. Close call for King Kong, but he still gets to escape.
Betul lah bah, Kirk tu macam tak menyelah.
You would have thought that Kirk went in alone, but
Tak, dia
it wasn't
tak tahu,
entirely
season
the
ni dia
case.
kurang,
There was
guys.
Brusco too, but was it still the right decision to go in, knowing that
Oh,
it was
Innocent
just the
snowball
2
kau
of
kau.
them?
Bruno dah hero lambat
There
guys.
wasn't any
Dia jadi
damage.
awal lah tu.
And SRG
1900
had
golik
plenty of
besar tu ni.
damage. I mean, look at this 2k gold lead.
Yeah.
Already in the hands of
Jadi
Innocent
kunci
on the
kemenangan,
Bruno.
guys. Menangkan
So
gol,
whoever
menang
he
semua,
decides to
guys.
go for, and that setup earlier onto Super Prince was just a bit too free, you know, but whoever he decides to go for from this point onwards,
Kirk tangkap kick wah.
you could expect the
Lion
damage
Patch
to
dah
come
apa?
through from Innocent, to come through from
Tak,
Stormy.
tapi tak juga. Lion Patch pun
It's just too
kalau kau
tough
tengok
right now
playstyle
for
dia kan,
Onic Philippines, like
ada
Selangor
lain
Red
dia lah.
Giants. 3 kills
Sebab
on
ungkep kot, Pak.
Stormy. That's the only possible bounty that they can get. Again, he can just play far back. He has a flicker too, and mainly I think what makes them, the backline, so safe. is
Innocent dah
the
siap Malefic
amazing
Gun.
frontline that they didn't actually have
Range
in
dia makin
game
jauh.
here, right? Like game number 2,
Dia
yes,
speed
they
pun
had
laju.
Disguise
Ada
on a
penetration
Baksha,
sikit.
but Onic Philippines just got online so early. Now that SRG got 3 turtles, even just with that, without the gold lead, they should be in a proper
6,000
spot to
gold
actually
lead.
hold down Onic
Kejap
Philippines'
lagi
damage.
dipegang oleh SRG.
But with the 6,000
6
gold
balas
lead,
1.
Onic Philippines might have to just wait for what, 15, 16 minutes of
They
game
have
time before
to.
they can actually shred down Skies.
There's no threat of burst damage just yet from Onic BH. They're, as you said, literally waiting. And now you see SRG OG
Tak boleh masuk dah ni. Dia masuk untuk mati je.
just bounced back in this series.
Lot mudah yang pertama
They're
dapatkan
showing
oleh
us a
SRG.
performance
Dah tutup je lah
that's
game ni,
not
Dok.
too far from what
Bismillah,
we've seen
2-1.
in the previous year when they took the championship in MSC 2024 for the
Guys, mana yang belum bantu saya like dan share, bantu dulu guys. Minta bantuan sikit geng. Kasih button ibu jari satu guys. Naikkan engagement saya guys. Yang mana belum subscribe, jangan lupa subscribe lagi geng. Bantuan korang sangat saya perlukan untuk menaikkan channel ini. Pejabat Basin bah. Bismillah. Tidak. Ulti flicker daripada Stormy. Dika juga daripada Kirk.
But now he doesn't have the Purify.
No, he does not. Holy shield in the mid lane to be popped open again, and there's just no damage. Not even to
SRG ni disiplin, kalau disiplin betul ni.
Man's able to sustain. Prince is a level down on Stormy.
Aku malah sebut satu ayat tu ya. Kalau
That they got was alright. Stormy used Flick, so a bit more vulnerable. But even then, he doesn't really need Flick. He's been able to utilize it to
That's right.
go and dive. That's some free turret down below. Innocent picking it up now.
Aku masuk. King Kong daripada belakang tu. Kick off. Innocent. Nice. Innocent jadi ni.
Innocent gets a double kill. One off from a hat trick.
Kirk will score down.
The closest and probably the best target for King Kong in that situation was Stormy.
Ni. Nice. Terror down.
And they're gonna go for the end. 10 minutes in. Onic Philippines have
10 minit.
no way to react. They will
Alhamdulillah guys. Tak ada ruang langsung guys untuk Onic Philippines mendapatkan ruang. GG. Alhamdulillah. 12-1. Congratulations to SRG. Jangan lupa like, komen, share bagi pendapat korang pasal game ketiga kali ni. Yang paling penting jangan lupa subscribe guys. Let's go.